Good morning.
It is.
I too am a little bit antsy here being in front. I saw you last May in Europe, and you answered a powerful question for me, which I would like to continue to extrapolate on. For while I got it for those few seconds there, the practicing of it has been quite tedious and holding myself out of the vortex, and I could be arguing for limitations, and I'd like to work through that. So what came up for me, my question last time, was as a natural healthcare physician and working also with my own self, I see that body chemistry plays a huge part of how people see. When we talk about
we would say how people see plays a large part in the chemistry.
Correct, absolutely. It's back and forth.
No, it's not back and forth. It's just that way.
Okay, well then this may be my point of resistance. I've spent from the time I was this big studying, educating, 3 college degrees, 14 years of college, 22 years of clinical practice, and I observed that when someone puts something in their mouth, it changes how they see things. So maybe that's the point where we begin. Because I'm really stuck. I believe they go both ways, but I see people's behavior change when they put something in.
What you observe does affect your vibration.
Okay.
And your vibration then affects what you observe. In other words, it is a cycle. But the only way to break the cycle is to make a decision that you're going to deliberately observe. In other words, it's only when the understanding comes that as I focus on anything, I offer a vibration which affects everything, but I can choose what I focus on. That's the only point that we were making. That's why we're saying if you will look at it that way, because so many people are caught in a sort of spiral or cycle where they've got something that they don't want and they're observing it, and so they keep holding themselves in that pattern of not getting what they want because you can't get there from there. So we'll hear you. Give us more example or detail.
Okay, so I'll just speak stream of conscious in the sense that I feel like I'm just going to use a simple example. Let's say I have a cup of coffee. I feel that alters, it makes me have a shorter fuse. I'm less likely to be loving when I'm buzzed up.
But the thing that we want to say, just getting back a little bit, is that if you are in the vortex, then you're tuned in, tapped in, turned on. So you're not looking for the stimulant that the coffee would provide, so you're probably not drinking the coffee. In other words, your action is inspired from your vibrational alignment. Let's start here. This will be a good place to start.
Okay.
Just let us throw this in, and then we'll hear you.
Yes, ma'am.
But just consider this. Your impulse when you're outside the vortex is different than your impulse when you're inside the vortex.
Okay.
Alignment evokes different behavior than misalignment. So that's a good platform to begin from. Now we'll hear you.
Yes. So I fully agree with that. That was actually the answer I received back last May, and that there's a part of me, as I'm just rephrasing what I heard you say, that is never really affected by my body chemistry. And if I tune into that part of me, I can begin to transcend even the impulse to want anything or that could possibly alter my chemistry. And I've been working with that, and I have been feeling myself having less impulse for carbs for breakfast and coffees and all sorts of things that stimulate me.
Let us interject something because it's right on the platform of where you are also.
Sure.
When you are in vibrational alignment with who you are, you recognize that your impulses are different, but here's something to consider that is at the basis of that. Do you acknowledge that what you think affects everything?
Yes.
Do you believe that the cells of your body think?
Yes.
Do you believe that the cells of your body have habits of thought which are beliefs?
Yes.
So here you are, the captain of a ship who has trillions of cells who are thinking and observing. This is sort of what the body chemistry is all about, you see. And what we are suggesting from a point of absolute knowing is that if the captain of this ship is caring deeply, maybe even singularly, on only one thing, which is being in the vortex, then from that place of alignment, the power of influence. We talked to our friend and we said, you have the power to influence elections. You have the power to influence people from a distance. You have the power to influence mass consciousness. You certainly have the power to influence the cells of your own body. But most people are not exercising any of that power of influence, you see. So that's why when we are strong, as we are wanting to say it just goes one way, if anyone would care only about and deeply about getting into the vortex. So that's what you care about most. I want to feel good, I want to feel good, I want to think thoughts that feel good. I want to think thoughts that are absent of resistance. What happens is now the cells of your body are listening because there's no resistance that you're setting up with your own thought vibration that's keeping them from getting the message from control. You see what we're getting at?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I do, and it is so easy for me to do that for others, as I have done for 2 decades of clinical practice, and I have been richly rewarded from a financial and professional level. Many practitioners underneath me in the clinic, and we have thousands of patients coming in per month. So that's all good, but the moment I step outside of that clinic and I go home to my friends, I'm overwhelmed with deep frustration because I think so many things are going on inside of my head. I'm wanting to help them. I'm seeing where their frustration's coming from. But in that instant, I'm maybe tired from a long day, so I get into my frustration, and the next thing I know,
whatever.
I'm like, I need some coffee or something.
Whatever, but there is no excuse in the world for you to not be in the vortex.
Does
in
that
other
mean
words,
that maybe
I'm
during
tired, I'm frustrated, I'm overwhelmed, there's too many of them, blah, 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 blah. You're not deeply caring about being in the vortex, or you would be in the vortex. There is no excuse not to be in the vortex knowing what you know. In other words, there's a world of things you can look at. Some of them take you out of the vortex, some of them put you in the vortex. If you're out of the vortex, it's because you've been looking at the wrong things. There's no excuse to not be in the vortex. Oh, there's excuses and there's justification and there's rationalization, but none of them are good enough. None of them, because being out of the vortex is the reason for everything that goes wrong. Everything that goes wrong with your body, every moment that you don't feel good, every argument you have, everything that slows down. Once you're in the vortex, you can't tolerate not being in the vortex. You know what's bugging you most? Not being in the vortex. That's the thing that bothers you the most of all. I'm not in the vortex. I'm not in the vortex. Esther said to Jerry, if we're not joyful, we're failing. It doesn't matter how much money we have. It doesn't matter how many houses we have. It doesn't matter how beautiful our bus is. It doesn't matter how many books are on the New York Times bestseller list. It doesn't matter if they hit #1. And they did. If we're not joyful, we're failing, you see. Those are Esther's words. We would not be that strong, but
I think some of it's coming also from history. I was trained so hard to work hard and to know all that knowledge that maybe the question is, how do you get rid of the frame of reference? How do you get rid of the frame of reference? I mean, is it really just, quote...
Can't get rid of it. You can't get rid of it. You replace it.
All right.
You replace it with other things. And we know you've been trained into that. And the thing that's tricky is that when someone tells you something is true and you focus upon it, the universe delivers the evidence of that truth to you. So then you have all this truth that's hard to deny. And we don't want you to deny any of those truths because all those diseases are true. They're valid. They're representations of thought, but they're all valid, you see. We just want you to seek your highest truth. And that means get in the vortex, period. And when you get in there, you have clear vision of everything.
So could my increased frustration in the last 6 months been because this clarity is now beginning to come to me and I may be more sensitive of when I'm not in it? Yes,
because when you are in the vortex, the more time you spend in the vortex, the more intolerable not being in the vortex is.
God, I say that all day
Esther finds
long.
herself in conversations that previously she would have just sat and listened to and even participated in, wanting to not go there, wanting to change the subject, wanting to go to the bathroom, wanting to be somewhere else, wanting to be having another experience. In other words, things that were all right or even maybe interesting. Once you're hanging out in the vortex, you want to change the subject fast, you see. So now let's rewind here and have this conversation from this newfound premise. From where you are now, what is it that you want to discuss? In other words, we've already acknowledged that nothing matters other than being in the vortex. And so then the next discussion may be, can I get into the vortex at will? Can I get in there anytime I want?
Well, see, if you were my patient hearing the question, I'd immediately say yes, and I would have,
Well, we wouldn't. We'd say no.
oh, well,
You
good.
can't just jump in the vortex. You
Oh.
can't just from wherever you are jump in. You have to warm up to it. In other words, we would say if you're really out of the vortex, it might take you 10 or 15 minutes to get in. 10 or 15 minutes of doing the right thing. So what's the first step? If you're really out of the vortex, what's the first step of getting in? Acknowledge that I'm out and that it's okay that I'm out, and that since I've been out here, I've been asking in a stronger way. So there's a stronger solution pulsing for me than was pulsing before. So good for me. I'm fulfilling my reason for being. I'm sifting through contrast, and I have just given myself a new, more profound, more defined, more enhanced, more exaggerated mission. And now my vortex is swirling in a stronger, faster way, but I'm not in there, but it's all right because I've just taken a step one experience. So sort of making peace with where I am. Then the next step to getting in the vortex, we think the focus wheel is the best next step, because what it does, it acknowledges, I know what I don't want and I know what I do want, but I'm not in the vibration of what I do want. And by making the statement in the center of where I want to be, I can feel that I'm not there. It's just words. I'm just writing it down. This I want, but I'm not there. And then when I make the effort to get on the board, on the wheel, that's the first step, and it's the biggest step, and it's the hardest step, because I'm not in the vortex, and I'm not even on the focus wheel. The focus wheel is just a means to get into the vortex, but I'm not there yet. But there's something in me somewhere that does vibrationally match where I want to be at the end of this wheel. And so I'm just going to stay there until I find it. And that's where most of the 15 minutes goes, is just finding a way to get on the wheel. No, that didn't do it. No, that didn't do it. No, that didn't do it. Oh, that felt pretty good. I can work with that. And then off you go to the next and the next. So once you make your way around the wheel, and we did that a couple of times already here today, you can feel the energy moving. And then once you've completed the wheel, and you're ready to make your affirmative statement that matches what was in the center of the wheel, where what I was reaching for I now feel, now go immediately into a list of positive aspects about that subject. And you'll find it really easy to list, because you're on the wheel now, and it will flow from you. So as you make a list of positive aspects, they'll just start coming. Jerry and Esther are just laughing as they feel the energy lifting and the words that are coming out of them. It is a marvelous experience as you make your list of positive aspects, and then right into a rampage of appreciation. And the rampage of appreciation, just spread your wings and fly all around. It doesn't matter. Include it all. I love the world. Esther will say, I love these gardens. I love my fountain. I love that little frog who waits for me every morning to come out of the fountain and say hello to me. I love this view. I love this planet. I love the rain today. I love this. Whatever it is, there's so much for you to appreciate everywhere you are, no matter where you are. I'm loving this. I love this. I love this. And then you're in the vortex. Once you're in the vortex, you were in the vortex long before you went through that long rampage, but the rampage holds you in the vortex. It lets you feel what it feels like to be in the vortex. I love my body. I love my job. I love physicality. I love that we are extensions of source energy. I love the human body. I love the evolution of it. I love the way it works. I love the magic of it. I love the power of it. I love the flexibility and the stability. And I love the stability of the human body. I love how it maintains, even with all kinds of resistance going on. I love how responsive it is to alignment. I love being in this work where I get to bring people into alignment. I love getting into alignment. I love being in alignment. I love not being in alignment because I know how to get into alignment. I love people not being in alignment. I love them knowing that they're not in alignment. I like coaching them into alignment. I love this world. I love my work. I love medicine. I love physicality. I love source energy. I love being alive. I love my eternalness. I love this planet. I like this muffin. I love these carbohydrates that give me energy and that my body burns fuel from and that give me benefit. In other words, we love your timer.